Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I am starting doing the interviews for the Board of Education candidates for the November election. With me is Marilyn Vitale, who's running as a Democrat. Good evening, Marilyn.
Good evening, Ed.
So I guess we just start off, tell the voters a little bit about yourself.
Well, this is the second time that I'm running for the board. I served 6 prior years, and I enjoy it. I never miss a meeting. In all the years I've been on the board, this past winter was the first time I missed 2 meetings because of an illness. I felt pretty bad about it too because it ruined my 100%. But other than that, I feel I have the time. I have grandchildren in the system, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I know you were very upset because we actually even missed doing one of the shows last year.
Yes.
And we have actually our next guest, I think, is going to be the person who filled in for you that night. So why don't you tell the voters why you want to be on the Board of Education?
Well, I think we need a lot of improvement in our school system, and I'd like to be part of it. I think there's new frontiers out there. I'd like to see some things accomplished in my lifetime and while my grandchildren and all your grandchildren and children are attending the school system. You know, things that I want to see. I want to see an all-day kindergarten. I'd love to see an SRO officer up at the high school, maybe even the middle school. I'd like to see class sizes reduced, especially in the elementary grades where it's so important. The reading scores are not good because classes, I'd like to see them limited to 15. We do have some that are like 16, 17, but then we have some that are 20 and 21, and I'd like to see that changed. I'm going to be very bold and say that I'd like to see maybe uniforms in the lower grades, maybe even in the high school. I think the time is going to come. I think they've proven their value in other systems that have them. It's probably a long way off for East Haven. We don't accept those sweeping changes too easily. But I think it's important for the kids. I think it creates an environment of learning instead of peer pressure. There's a lot of good reasons for it. There's a lot of things I'd like to see changed. Improved. Let's not say changed. Let's say improved. You know, some people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I hate that saying because you know what? You can't have progress unless you have change. That's just the way it is. And you don't have to fix it, but you can improve it and make it better. And that's how I feel about our school system. It needs to be improved. Our test scores aren't where I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them. I'd like to raise the bar for our kids. I think they can do better. I think we should help them to do better. One of the things I've been advocating for many years is to use the academy as a template for the other schools. Whatever they're doing over there, it's very successful and we should be copying them. Instead, I see a lot of people that are against the school. They have stigmatized it as getting all the smart kids, and that's not so. The children are motivated, and they need to be motivated by their teachers, and the curriculum is a little different, and I'd just like to see every grammar school be as successful as the academy is, and I would work very hard to that end. Although I'm liaison to the academy and I work with their PTO and with the principal, I want to see it for all the schools. I think every child deserves an equal education.
So I'm assuming, and I actually know, that you're in favor of keeping the academy.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. How can you deny a school that is so successul?
Yeah, and it is very successful.
I'd like to see it expanded to high school.
Well, I think you need to take care of the location problems first.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
And again, we've some of the issues that have come up and have been discussed about during the election include what are going to do with the old high school building.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we should keep it, and I think we should use it for a multi-purpose municipal government building.
Okay.
Okay, and there's our ways to do it. Nobody wants to talk about it. There's state money. Nobody's really looked into it. I think it's the Board of Education's obligation to start the ball rolling on it because we have to protect the children that are in it and we should first of all, we need to redistrict. We should equalize our schools. Okay.
Are you saying reduce, increase,
Well,
change the number of schools somehow?
Well, the problem is everybody wants a neighborhood school, and neighborhood schools are wonderful. However, I don't know how many more years we can go with our budget just skyrocketing with all these facilities, because that's what costs money. We need to get a handle on the cost of our facilities, and I've asked many times for a bottom line on each school so that we could see what each school needs now and in the future, and how we can make them more energy efficient and easier to operate, because we're not going to be able to change how many teachers we have unless we hire more to make smaller classes. That wouldn't bother me one bit. But we probably could change the building situations.
Right. Yeah, some of the schools are older. The academy is attached to the very old high school, which is not energy efficient, shall we say?
Not at all.
And then we've got some other older schools, like Memogwin's, been up there for a while.
Well, Memogwin's
middle school.
I was on the school building committee, and we rehabbed most of the elementary schools. And they're not in bad shape. I mean, our schools aren't falling apart.
No.
It's just that there are some things, like the middle school is 51 years old. I think the last thing we rehabbed there was probably the auditorium. But our school building committee isn't even functioning anymore. They never have a meeting because we don't bring them any projects. Right. And I think it's the board's obligation to serious look into our buildings and our facilities.
Yeah, the middle school probably is the one school besides the old high school that wasn't rehabbed during the, I guess it was the 80s and the early 90s when a lot of the other schools were rehabbed. Yeah. What other issues do you see coming up that you want to address if you get reelected?
Well, I'd like to see the board function in a different way. I'd like to see meaningful subcommittees where we actually get into the nitty-gritty and do our work. I'd like to see a revision of some of our policies and bylaws. I think I mentioned all the things I previously mentioned are all what I'd like to see happen. I'd like to see, I know we have a $4,000 cap on bidding. I'd also like to see 3 price quotes on anything over $1,000. I want to see that we are purchasing or buying services or goods from East Haven businesses, because they pay high taxes and they deserve our business. And I don't want to see any work going out to Brantford or all the other towns unless our town, either the price is so out of kilter, or they cannot give us what we want and we have to go somewhere else. But I'd like to see a little more tightening on how our money is spent, especially in buildings and grounds account.
Yeah, and I know I brought this up on the show a couple of times and even went to the town council with it, but the current budget for last year spent an awful lot of money on things that had nothing to do with the classroom.
Right.
Are you planning on addressing that?
Well, I'd like to see us put more money in the classroom, and part of that could be hiring some extra teachers so we can reduce class sizes. And I certainly want to make sure that all the kids in the middle school get their language arts, and that maybe we can put back CHOP and home ec. That's really what we're here for, to see that the kids get what they deserve, what they need, so that they can face the world tomorrow when they have to.
And that's what the Board of Education should be doing.
That's right.
Well, I'm getting a high sign to wrap this up. I'd like to thank you, Marilyn, for stopping in tonight and doing this interview with us. And good luck on November 6th.
Thank you very much.